Okay, I am broadcasting through my phone again. So, we're having an issue right now. So, we're coming through. It seems I can do it both, I guess. So, we're going to both of them at the same time. So, we're on live, and I hope everyone out there could hear me. So, this is a little new for me. Maybe I might be able to switch back and forth. Okay. Well, I see I do have an audience here, and I'm going to try not to listen to myself. That's the hardest part because I have my headset on. And when you get a headset on, it's a little more difficult. But let's see if I could get myself into a chat mode and maybe um, we'll just see. I'll just keep broadcasting this way. I'm glad that you can hear me. Hopefully, you can see me. I'm using my phone. I've done this before. Um, One of the benchmarks of broadcasting is good to have a backup. So I have my Android mobile phone, and I could come through at this point and broadcast live. So as we're doing this, let me open up with a prayer while the laptop is doing its own thing. I can't hear myself, but I know I'm talking. So, through divine power and by divine grace, to all who are tuning in today to the show, may you be blessed in more ways than one. May this show be an opportunity to share some of the wisdom that I have gained over the past 42 years and recently in the past 10 years with a lot of new information coming through for me to share with all of you. This is an opportunity for the Circle of Grace One is a part of my spiritual and metaphysical ministry. In fact, that's the name of it, Circle of Grace One, which I founded on July 2nd, 1999 AD under the aegis and anointing of the Angel of Grace through divine providence. Also put together its own institute back on February the 7th, 2009, and that was the Circle of Divine Grace and Remembrance. So, um, the purpose with 5 levels to it, and I'm getting ready to change it. Um, I'm going to make those 5 levels a little shorter in study time so that people could still pay a certain amount, but they can also have that opportunity to study. I've looked up so much material, and I'm bringing back some of the original materials that I used when I first began. So I'm really incorporating a lot of things right now. So I'm looking forward within the next 2 to 3 months to just pull it together as quickly as possible. I have a lot of people that I'm mentoring throughout the United States and a few people abroad who are Americans at universities in South Korea and so forth. And so we're looking forward to this opportunity to get back to teaching these programs so that everybody gets everything. And so that you kind of get it not fast food style, but you get it where you could understand it, where you can comprehend it, you could put it immediately into practice, and showing how you can use whether it's numerology, the tarot, crystals, whether you want to use handwriting analysis as a way, along with psychometry, as a way to take these mantic arts and apply them on an everyday basis to unlock some doors, not only for yourself but for other people, so you can bring better harmony into one's life and your own life. So, and then learning how to mentor other people. And so I can do a lot of different things with you and for you. So, what we're looking to do right now is to share this information at large with everybody, and to make sure everybody can get this information. There's an opportunity to be blessed right now. There's a lot of things happening in the world, and no one is, as you say, you're not off limits to anything. You can learn just about anything, and you could take these teachings, even as simple as they appear to be, into your own life, and then utilize it so that more than one person can gain access to it. You could share it with loved ones. You can definitely allow yourself to advance. And so there's so many people now trying to contact me here. Oops. So what are we gonna, how can I do this? Well, I can hear myself, that's for sure. So I'm coming through my headset, excuse me. What we're going to do right now is um, to really set forward and get started with this program. So if you're in the chat room, stay right there. I'm coming on with my own, and, so that I could connect with you just the same. All right. So one of the things we want to be able to do is allow ourselves to have a greater opportunity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of the things I used from last week, and I brought you some of the teachings of the late Reverend Ike in, because he was one of the, not the main person, but he brought prosperity consciousness to a lot of people who in poorer communities, especially in the city areas of New York, who thought they couldn't have any opportunity to become more prosperous and abundance in their own life. And he kind of turned that around for them. And so this is something that I'm going to definitely, bring forward into tonight's program. Now, another thing I'm going to do too is incorporate meditation. And one of the things I want to talk about right now is dreams. On my Blog Talk Radio show the other night, and I'm quite sure many of you who kind of tuned into it had an opportunity to watch or listen to the Blog Talk Radio, The Age of Remembrance. And I got into the first part, which was all about the title was Dreaming for Success, and how to use your dreams to create a better life for yourself. And I was talking about, gave some brief examples where people maybe wanted a new home, or they wanted a better car, a better job, and how do they go about programming yourself so that you can begin to see this kind of float into your life without you focusing specifically on the steps that you have to take in order to do it. And so one of the things, get a little closer here so that you can see, one of the things is having the wherewithal, meaning having the intense desire to succeed, having the love and the compassion, the unconditional love for yourself, and the passion within yourself to move forward, so that you're not struggling with the concept of being more successful in your life, being happier in your life. Now, I'm quite sure, like myself, other people enjoy being able to assist someone else, no matter what they're doing, but being able to assist another person on their path, wherever you might find that person. be able to give them something, whether it's a person who's struggling, like, man, like a person who's borderline almost living homeless, or one who's living homeless, and to be able to give something of value that the person can use right away. That's the whole beauty of it. They can use what you give them right away. And if you do it with a lot of compassion, a lot of simplicity, you do it with a lot of gratitude, you do it with a lot of unconditional love, a greater understanding. When you give from your heart, you know that it was done to bless somebody. And when I'm saying bless somebody, you may not have moved them from where the bottom rung up to the 10th floor, but you've moved the pain, removed that pain and that sorrow and that sadness out of that individual. And so this is one of the things that the Circle of Grace One, as a spiritual and metaphysical ministry, is striving to do, is to take these metaphysical, spiritual, if you want to call them magical or romantic arts, and being able to see yourself there and then utilize it so that you can expand your awareness and therefore tap into your remembrance. And so, one of the things we're going to talk about with dreams tonight, briefly, in this first part of the program, is how can we use a dream? Like, why would one want to use a dream or a series of dreams to be able to connect themselves to a higher source and greater resources that never run out? And so, if we really think about dreaming, usually most of the time when we dream, we see something coming back to us. Um, that's helping us solve a particular problem or issue that we might have with a coworker, sibling, a parent, an elder. You might have some difficulty with a neighbor, or you're just struggling to come up with a interesting software program that's going to help you and help the industry that you're in. Or maybe you're striving to educate yourself on a completely different level, where you could then kind of help break down barriers and obstacles so everybody could receive something and feel good about what they're receiving and allow themselves to just live without stress. So often we use the word dreams loosely. We say, well, I hope to dream to have a better world. The dream I had last night, it was a funny dream. It was a ridiculous dream, made absolutely no sense whatsoever. Oh, I had something that stood out in the dream, but I'm not sure what the symbol actually represents. Or I experienced someone else in my dream, like a celebrity, but I don't know if I'll ever meet that celebrity. But I had that celebrity in my dream numerous times. Well, one of the things that happens in dreams, and one of the things that one can experience, and it's the one word, repetitive dreaming, is constantly have something replayed over and over and over to you. And when you are seeing this dream being repeated, then you realize there's something of significance in that dream. And so it's up to you to try to determine what all of those symbols mean. Okay, so when you're striving to determine what all those different symbols mean in the dream, speaking a language to you from your higher self, trickling down into where you are right now on this earthly zone, um, the dreams can either make sense immediately or make no sense whatsoever. But when it's a repetitive dream, it's letting you know that something needs to be solved. Now, it could suggest that there's a hurdle or hurdles you need to overcome. It could suggest that, and this is the repetitive dream, that there's something that you need to look at, that you need to change with yourself. You need to reorient the way you're looking at a situation in your life in order to move forward. Maybe there's something that you spend too much time and energy on. Maybe there's something you don't spend enough time and energy on, but you're going to have the revelation about it through this repetitive dream. And once you have that repetitive dream and then have the breakthrough, then, or a series of breakthroughs, then you look forward to the information coming from the repetitive dream. on a completely different level where you're going to start to turn it around and let it work out something successfully for you. So, this is something that you want to be able to apply yourself to. So, as an example, maybe you have a dream and it's constantly telling you that you're always without money, yet you're striving to get a car or new home, whatever or there's some trip that you're trying to take, and every time you get right to that point, ready to take that trip, get the new car or used car, get the better home, like the bottom seems to fall out. And what's the bottom falling out? Some emergency on the side happens and sidetracks you. So the money you accumulated goes into that emergency. So maybe in the repetitive dream, the answer that's actually meant for you to receive is watch the train of events that go on in your own life. Watch very carefully, because those train of events might lead up to you making the proper decision, which would be to put the money in this emergency, or don't respond to that, because maybe that's not something that you're really supposed to do. Maybe there's other people around you who are supposed to be involved in the quote so-called emergency. You may not have to pay money out extra, but you could put the money on something specifically. Like, again, you want the better car, the better house, the better job. So you're going to put money into yourself to invest for the better job, right? You're going to put money to get the better car, because there's a car that you're seeking that can get you from point A, B, all the way out to Z and back, maybe to do some long distance driving, and it's going to stand up for a couple of years rather than just 6 months, letting it be a lemon. Or maybe this house that you're moving into has enough room in it for you to work on everything, develop some more skills, take the skills that you already have and maybe create some beautiful furniture, artwork, music, create a film, a documentary. So there's a lot of things that, the repetitive dream is going to tell you, but you have to be able to, of course, go into it. So now there's another way of allowing yourself to have a repetitive dream, not where what I'm talking about, where the information is being trickled down to you from your higher self, but it's you creating this information, you putting all the puzzle pieces together, and then see yourself in the dream body, see yourself activate everything so that it becomes real to you. So what would that be like? Let's take it to a better car that you want to drive. Or better yet, you want a better career, or you want to create something that's going to draw something unto you for the better financially. So let's say you're someone who can make things with your hands. You could not only fix furniture and restore it and refurbish the furniture, but you start creating some brand new furniture that's even better than what you see out on the market, what you see in Home Goods and all these other places. So you start to work on it, right? Now, in the dream, what you're designing for yourself in the dream is that you see yourself developing the concept on paper. You see yourself physically doing it successfully and then completing it. And then you see yourself what? Stepping out on the platform and getting other people to take a liking to this new project of you making the furniture, to the point that you start to customize it, and then you start selling these custom pieces of furniture to people. And so, let's say if it was a table, you would do something more interesting than just the regular table with a leaf that, comes up from the bottom, that allows you to expand the table. You're going to do something maybe with a more creative design. But better yet, of course, you're going to make it so the table is functional, right? And then maybe on another level, you're going to, let's say, turn that piece of furniture to the almost looking kind of antiquish. So is the way you paint it and stain it and varnish it and do whatever you got to do to make it look that way. But the most important thing is to what? Get a clientele base. So then now you start doing your research, and maybe a part of that journey in the dream was seeing you successfully get it onto Etsy, or get it onto these other websites, or gaining your own, creating your own website, and then marketing that website out to a lot of people. So then what happens is the next step in the dream would be seeing your phone ring off the hook, seeing yourself get a lot of emails, seeing people knock at your door, calling you up, making the arrangement to want to see what you have. They've seen the picture. Now they want to see it up close and personal. And you want to see yourself sealing the deal, sealing it, to the point that that person that buys from you is so excited that they begin to get more people for you. So now you're getting really excited because you got more people coming to you. So all of this is happening in the dream, though, you see. And you don't have to make it that intricate. However, in the dream, you are striving for the ultimate. So what are you striving for? To see the idea go from the piece of paper, from your mind to the piece of paper, from spirit to you on paper, then you create it with your hands and complete it. And then selling it to other people, getting your name out there, and people are taking a liking to you. So in the dream, dreaming for success, is the dream begins to be everything. Everything is solved in the dream while you are asleep. And now you're becoming more lucid, which means you're very aware of what's going on in the dream consciously, and you are consciously making the shift in the dream, and then you get more magnetic through the dream so that everybody starts to come your way. Let me get a little water. So now you're getting everybody coming your way. And you use this in the dream. The dream was the platform for this. So we know that this could happen, right? Let me get a little bit of water here. We know that if you make it happen in a dream, in the dream world, then it's going to happen in the physical world. All the Aboriginal shamans, medicine men and medicine women, have known for eons that the dream world is your real world. You're connecting with spirits and angels and ancestors and other forces of nature to make your life be the way that you want it to be and not how it appears in this physical plane. So you can definitely dream success into your life. You just have to decide what success is to you. What part of that is making you happy inside? Because that's very important. If you're not happy inside, if you're not feeling satisfied that what you're doing every day is making a difference in the world. Now, making a difference in the world could be your immediate community, your immediate neighborhood, or reaching out beyond there. Maybe you put together some kind of foundation, and through that foundation, you're helping maybe boys and girls have a better look at life, experience life on a higher plateau for themselves. Right down to grade schools and high schools and going into college, they feel more secure, and now they're ready to perform better at a collegiate level and be successful. And then they turn around, even before they graduate, they're doing some things that are making a difference in the world. And so they're doing it before they graduate. So that could be a part of your dream, which then teaches them the same thing, how to make that dream be the vehicle for their success. So we all have to make it happen for ourselves. We all have to design a path that works for ourselves. And it is definitely essential that we get to know who we are and how powerful that we are. And one of the things, though, I've come to realize, and I've been on this path 42 years, whether it's learning how to use a dream to turn my life better, one of the things is humility and being grateful for what you had in the beginning. Because things that you had in the beginning, as small as they appear to be, if they appear not to have any true value to you later, but in the earliest stages they had value to you, such as certain friendships, business relationships, and other people that you connect with, friendships, but you realize that those people around you in your life help mold the way that you think, help mold your ideals so that you can move forward. And so you never forget who moved you forward, who took you to the next level, or who rode with you until you got to the next level. There's some people say, well, man, I got to get out of here. This isn't for me, but I enjoyed the ride with you, enjoyed having a good time, and there was a lot of sad times, but we got together and we moved ourselves through those sad moments. And now we're doing something complete. I got to go my way, you got to go your way. But for the meantime, at this moment, whatever amount of months or years we've spent together, we assisted each other in becoming much stronger on our path. So it's all about being humble, being grateful. I remember sometimes, and parents do it sometimes too much to their children. They used to say, like, well, be glad you got food on your table because somewhere halfway around the world, someone doesn't have food on their table. So don't waste what you have. Don't be forever wasteful. Remember, there's other people who don't have what you have. Well, then that turned into when I got into college and met some of the wealthiest people. And I'm not going to call the names, but I went to school with certain well-known American painters, well-known American art painters' children. And most of them were spoiled because their dad could provide for them to go to the best college, the best university, send them abroad and go to the Sorbonne in France, go to Germany and study there, go to Japan, study there. They could take these trips and they could get the best of the best and get a well-rounded artistic training and then come back and employ it. But I found that they weren't happy either. They weren't happy because they could draw the line between their wealthy status and someone in a not so wealthy status. And so a lot of them told me they were saddened. What they missed was their families being together. They would be amongst other students who didn't have that kind of wealth, monetarily speaking, didn't have that fancy car to drive all the time, that Jaguar, the Benz, the Mercedes, or the Mercedes Benz, the Jaguars, the Fiats. They didn't have that kind. But they began to hang out with some of the students who were from the city. And what I mean from the city, who were on the lower rung of the city, but they had skills. They were street smart. They were talented. They worked extra hours to make it happen for themselves. And they realized the greatest wealth that they had was family and close-knit friendships. So I'm saying this because no matter what you're striving to do with your dreams, whatever you're trying to employ through the power of dreams, you're going to have to bring on board in order to be successful. And to remember your success, you're going to have to bring gratitude on board. You're going to have to bring the presence of grace on board. You're going to have to bring self-awareness, self-esteem on board. You're going to have to know that whatever you are doing is going to bless other people. Other people are going to be able to benefit from what you're doing. And most people, for instance, I was reading today in, I think it was People magazine, about Steve Harvey, living once homeless and now running businesses over $100 million a year or so. And now he slept in a car for 3 years. And, he went through various marriages only because the first marriage he wasn't making any money. He thought he was. He won his first stand-up uh, comedy routine, got him $50, and then he quit his job. Okay, and then because he was with a wife at that time, she looked at him like he had three heads, because you just won a contest for $50. Yes, you made some people laugh, but that money wasn't enough. Not quite making enough money, and that ruined his marriage. Then got together with someone else only because he thought he was lonely and he needed to have a person in his life, and that didn't work out. And then finally getting together with someone who really didn't care if he didn't have a place to stay, but he didn't divulge that information. And that's the woman who's his current wife right now. He didn't divulge information to her that he was living out of his car and that he didn't have a home. And because he didn't say that, she didn't let him know, or couldn't let him know, that she owned a home where he didn't have to put himself through that. But he realized he was being appreciated. But he had depreciated himself, but she had been appreciating him for who he was. And eventually turned it around. They got married, and boom, and they brought their extended families together, their children together, and they were able to, make it happen. Okay, and he's often says, a lot of people said they knew that they were going to have these mega careers, but he was somebody that he could honestly say he didn't have a clue that he would be that wealthy in his life. He didn't have that. He didn't know. All he knew that his heart was there, and he had to take that step each and every time. So I brought him in as a living example. Here's a person that had a dream, and he just had to keep going until he got better. In other words, he got into a better position each and every time. So often we don't have the end result. We don't know exactly where we're headed. We just know we got something. That something that we have has value to it. And if it's valuable to us, perhaps it's going to be even greatly more valuable to others. And because you have that level of awareness and that level of conscious awareness, maybe you start to realize that you can make it happen. You could make this opportunity mushroom into something much bigger, where you now know that you can be a success, not get in your own way. You can be a success where some part of what you're doing could align itself and match something that someone else is doing, and then that person can have that opportunity and make it happen for themselves. So that's another take on dreaming for success. Let's see what the late Dr. Frederick Eichenkorota, better known as Reverend Ike, had to say about being success. And this is something he talked about, you have multi-million dollar talents. You have multi-million dollar talents, you just don't know what to do with them yet, right? So you want to make sure that you could utilize what you have. So, one of the things he was saying is to keep a notebook on you at all times. Every time you have an idea, of course, you're going to write it down. And you're going to start to build on the ideas. But here's something he said: write ideas through the presence of God within. So he says, I wrote this lesson and gave you these examples because I want to make you aware of some of the simple things that have made millions and billions of dollars for other people. Simple ideas have made people rich. So he's telling you, keep it simple. Don't. So that means if you got a dream for something that you're striving to accomplish, don't over embellish it. Keep it as simple as possible. Why? Because in the simplicity, how you're able to utilize it can demonstrate to other people how easy it is. He says a simple idea can make you rich. He says many times we scorn the simple talents and the simple abilities that we have. We discount ourselves. This is why I keep reminding you of the presence and power of God within. The presence of God within you is your source of right ideas. Through the presence and power of God in you, that's the I am in you, you have money-making ideas and talents that can make you rich. The mind of God in you is always giving you new ideas, wonderful ideas, right ideas that can make you successful. But here's the command: open your mind to the divine mind within. I'm going to repeat that. Open the mind, meaning your mind, to the divine mind that's in. That's the real resource. That's infinite. Accept the ideas which the infinite has to offer. Have faith in yourself and you can't lose. So, we're going to take a dream. We know we have to simplify the things that we see in the dream. So that means, let's say again, you're going to dream uh, having a car to get you from A to B. But the car might be a fast car, a clean car, a colorful car, an updated car. But you still have to make it simple in your mind. Now, he's not saying create a soapbox kind of race car made off of children's products. Just keep the idea simple for yourself. A car that works. A car that has all the new parts. A car, maybe you know a mechanic, several mechanics, and they specialize in the kind of car that you want. Maybe you want a BMW. So that means you got to get mechanics, people around you who are experts in working on foreign cars. You can have a mechanic that can work on a car, but is he or she, are they a specialist in the particular car that you want to have? Then you're going to be talking about, okay, I'm going to have this car and I need to be able to park it. It needs to be able to run during the winter time. So now all the things go into this dream. Not only are you going to have the car, you just have to see the end result of you having the car, you with the mechanics, being successful. You're able to pay the mechanics to fix your specialized motor vehicle for transportation, but you had the money to afford it. Or your money came in different ways. Someone had the car and gave you the car as a gift, or you won the car in a contest. Either way, it was a successful attraction. And that successful attraction brought you where you are today. Brand new car, brand new career, brand new house, brand new relationship. You went from the very bad relationships to the most beneficial relationships. You didn't have to be on the same page, but you both are open toward the same thing. Striving for not only physical prosperity, but spiritual prosperity. Not only physical abundance, but spiritual abundance. And getting beyond the physical, having that metaphysical mind to understand. So that's one aspect of dreaming for success. Recognizing that you are of value and the ideas that you're going after are worthy ideas because they represent you. It's important when you've got an idea or ideas that represent your philosophy, your ideals, who you are, who you've grown to be. This way you can transcend all the other stuff that has no value for you. Well, what about now if we switch this a little bit? If we switch this over to a greater understanding of the power within. Do you understand how powerful you really are? It's all about understanding who you are. Now, we have tons of people around us, or maybe we have a select few, who can tell us something about ourselves that represents a great value. Like how their connection to us as an individual enhances their life. What did they learn from you, and what did you learn from them that made you a lot better now? So it's all about now in the second segment here about building yourself up, making yourself better for you so that you're not pretending anymore. What I mean by that is you're not trying to ensnare somebody into a new business idea. You're not trying to ensnare a man or woman into your life. What you're striving to do is give the proper presentation as to who you are. In other words, being real with yourself. I spoke about that last week. Meaning the ability to re-elevate yourself to a higher plateau, to the right ideal, the right level, so that you can command your life a lot better, which means you can be more self-sufficient for yourself and self-efficient, meaning that whatever you're doing is creating ease for yourself. And you're not locking yourself into something that is going to hinder your progress. So we've gone from dreaming for success to go behind the scenes. How valuable do you feel that you really are? What is your self-worth? Let's say you are a musician. You're an accomplished musician. You know everything about your instrument that you play on. You know how to sheet read, which means you can look at some notes, musical notes, and you can properly interpret the tune on the paper. You know the difference between the bass clef and the treble clef. You know a B flat from a D flat, or a B flat from an A sharp. And really no difference. A sharp is the same as B flat because they're right next door to each other. It's the same tone. So you would have to know your musical notes and scales so well that you could tell the difference or say, okay, that's similar. That is the same as this. Just call it slightly different. In any event, you understand your value and that what you are doing is going to add value into someone else's life. When people are performing music or choreography and ballet, yes, they are in the beginning doing it because they have a great joy for doing it. They love to do it, and they want to be well known, which means they want to be paid well for what they're doing, right down to the film director and producer. But as one goes further down the path, when they are what we call the seasoned veteran, and they've done hundreds of movies and thousands of performances and concerts and have played so many notes on their instrument that they got more than one instrument because each instrument gives off a tonal quality that's distinctive. Some instruments are better played indoors with a microphone in front. Some are better played outdoors so you can hear the full resonance as it goes through the air. But it is you in the end that must be totally satisfied with your work of art, with your music? And did it make others? Did it bring happiness and joy like it brought happiness and joy to you? This is essential no matter where you are, no matter what lane you find yourself in. It has to be beneficial. Whatever you're doing has to help you and eventually help others. You don't want to get to a point in your life when it's time for you to exit the planet and then you start to worry about, man, I should have taken that particular project and worked on it a little longer, and I should have called Mr. and Mrs. So and so up, and even if they told me no, but I should have called them anyway, so I don't have these thoughts running around in my head wondering what if I had taken that extra step for someone to feel the same way I feel about my music, my art, my song, my dances, my inventions. Because in the end, we all want to know that we were worthy, we were strong, we went that extra mile or two, we found that audience, we found those colleagues that believed in us, that help us drive up that mountain and go do and go perform and be successful and be motivated. Not only motivated externally, but motivated internally. Self motivation, self ambition, and so forth. Self improvement, self elevation, graduation. You want to know that you did it. Another thing in your life of making this dream successful and understanding the process that you got the I am presence on the inside of you, you got the God presence within, and that the work that you do is beneficial, is healing, does create satisfaction for others, does uplift them out of their sorrow and grief, make them feel better about themselves, have a better quality of life. Now, this other part is equally important too, because I talked about how you have to be humble, and in a state of gratitude you got to be compassionate, you got to have grace, you got to understand that grace is there all the time. But do you know, when you've reached that plateau, do you know when your quote unquote job is done? Do you know? Only you would know that. You ever seen certain athletes, they don't know when to leave the stage? Musicians could do it, they perform because that's something, they're not beating up their bodies too much. They're not wearing the throat out. They're not breaking their hips, jumping up on a stage, off a stage. They're not breaking their feet from tap dancing, making their lips swollen from playing a trumpet, saxophone, getting so many calluses on their fingertips they can't play the guitar or the violin, cello, big double bass, or can't tap the piano keys. Do you know if you reach your limit? Athletes often don't know. Some do. Some get out way ahead of time. Some stay too long. Like boxers, they want to keep coming back and want to keep coming back. Usually it means that they're bored and they need the spotlight. They miss the people clamoring up to their doorstep. But we in the metaphysical and the spiritual world, there's some people that do that too. They just don't know when to sit down sometimes. And I'm not saying stop what you're doing. I'm just saying you don't need the spotlight that bad. If you're really good at what you do, people will remember you. If you're really good at what you do, people will remember you. Because you're making an impact on their life, right? And as long as you're making that impact and that you're happy with it and that you're happy with yourself, then you're going to do okay. You're going to be just fine. You don't have to worry about, am I doing the right thing? You're doing the right thing. You're making it happen. So understand that you carry a value, and understand that others carry a value too. They may not recognize it. So when you're around somebody else, you have to see that inside of that person, and you got to help them what? Uplift, help them unlock, help them initiate, help them be engaged in their life so that they feel value also there for themselves. Now, sometimes we often want to be recognized. And again, this is where humility comes into the picture. You want recognition. And sometimes if you really love what you do, your name will go ahead of you. Because everything and anything that you're doing is assisting someone else, is making their life better. So if you're truly engaged in your work, truly wedded to your spiritual, your metaphysical path, or whatever else you're on, if you could do it without a big ego in place and having yourself on a pedestal, but if you could do it where it's affecting people in a positive manner, then it will speak for itself. And people will definitely strive to be in your presence. But it'll be up to you to decide how you're going to have them in your circle. Are you just going to have them so they're sitting around laughing at every joke you tell and every story that you tell? Or are you going to be engaged in wanting to understand what is their story? What is funny about their life or things that they've experienced? Are you willing to share the spotlight? There's a lot of people that do not share the spotlight with anybody. They don't want anybody to be on that pedestal but themselves. And they will fight like tooth and nails, cat and dogs, if you want to say, to kick the other person off the stage so they can be the only one there. So they can be the person who's the savior, the teacher. This is somebody that's got to wear 50 million hats. You've heard of that old cliche, a jack of all trades and a master of none. Well, there's some who are masters of all trades, but their ego is in the way. And people complain time and time again. Oh, I belong to the mega church, and the ministers, the board of ministers, they got some fine houses that they live in, but everybody in the congregation don't. They got a car that can barely start to get them there, let alone hang out and socialize, let alone come back during the week for another service or two. So make sure you're not one of these egotistical, cold hearted, calculating minds of a person who's only doing it because you need to be on the pedestal. If you got to be on the pedestal, then you got a self esteem issue also. Because you should be able to carry people there to the stage with you. And some people say, well, you need money to carry them there. Yeah, sometimes. But if you've been in some positions like I've been in or other people have been in, where you don't have a dime most of the time, but yet when you present, people feel the electrical charge running through you, out of the earth and out of the universe around you and into them. And you know that you made contact because you're not worrying about it. You just feel a certain presence about yourself. And that's where I would call the angel of grace, the spirit of grace kind of slides into your life and puts you in a position where you're feeling better. You feel better than okay. You feel all right. So I would suggest, whenever you can, see this guy right here? If you get the light, health, joy, and prosperity for you. Reverend Ike, he was a blessing in a lot of people's lives. Reverend Ike's secrets, oh, go the other way, for health. Let's see. Secrets for health, joy, and prosperity for you. And you're going to hear a lot of people, talk about a lot of different things. So you want to realize, there's a lot of good teachings out there. There's works by Carolyn Miss. She talked about grace also. Patricia Cota Robles, she goes around the country talking about a lot of things. And there's just a whole bunch of people. But the bottom line, and there's another one of my favorites is Dr. Michael Beckworth. He started out with the science of mind, and then he just graduated and got that mission of saying yes to the universe and stretched all the way out and founded the Agape International Spiritual Fellowship Center and still going strong. We all got to find something that can be of service to others. We all have to find that something that can bring a better state of consciousness and awareness to others. We all have to find that something that makes not just ourselves special, but makes the person in your life feel special. See, it's not just about you. It's about us, all of us. And we all have natural talents, abilities, and skills. And we all have a responsibility to help ourselves rise higher, but help someone else get there too. And the greatest thing that many teachers will tell you, especially those in the martial arts, will tell you, I'm training you to go beyond me. Every master strives. The master is always working. The grandmaster is always working on those techniques, from weapons, the non-weapons, to mastering their own mind. But the whole key is to ignite the students so the students go beyond the master. Because one day the master is not going to be around. And maybe the master is trying to create a legacy, the martial arts master. But the greatest legacy are his or her students and how they could bring the teachings across, but also come up to the plate with their own. To be able to rely on oneself is one of the greatest gifts. Teaching somebody how to fish or go fish for them, which is it? Can they fish for themselves? Can they take it to a whole nother level? Or can they reach out into those who don't have a key, don't have anything, don't have any understanding about who they really are? Can you reach there and make that person feel better each day? Maybe the person's not seeking to be the best of the best. They just want to get along and be happy. Can you release it so they can be happy? As we begin to, we started a little after 5 o'clock. Let me give you some commercial information that you can utilize. People want to know, well, Brother Francis, how can I get in touch with you? Do you have a website? I've got to work on the website, but it's there and it's packed with a lot of information. It has some audio stuff on it. And this kind of takes you back to some of my older audio works. It has some a few short videos up there. You want to go to HTTP, which is Harry Thomas Teddy Paul : that's the 2 dots over each other, the // Circle of Grace, that's CIRCLE, which is capital CIRCLEOF, capital G as in Gary, RACE, with the number 1 at the end, by by region as one word by region BYREGION.net NET. So you want to go to that website. You can read about my profile and how I got started at an early age and how I came back into it and what I had to do and how I'm maintaining it. In the near future, I've come across some of my oldest creative pathwork meditations that I had on audio cassette that ran for about 20-25 minutes. A lot of them with no music. I'm going to transfer them to MP3 CD audio format so that you can have them to work with. I've got at least about 10 out of some 300 or 400 creative path work meditations to help open you up on a different level. Way back then, I talked about the Great Central Sun Journey, also the Journey to Grace, meeting up with the Angel of Grace, Remembrance, which was the awakening of your spiritual self. I had a lot of stuff that was just getting into, and we're talking about 1997 all the way up to about 2007, a 10-year stretch where I was creating a lot of audio cassette work so people could benefit from it. Well, now I got them and I'm going through them to make sure they work, and then I'm going to turn them into, like I say, CD audio so that you can have a whole set, like almost a dozen or more of these meditations, and then new things too that you could have. We're going to create this library that the Circle of Divine Grace and Remembrance, as my spiritual and metaphysical institute, can allow you. See, my forte is really meditation. My second forte is numerology, and then followed by the tarot. But my other is being able to pull this information for you and simplify it so that you could practice it, so that you could utilize it and you could benefit from it. That's what it's all about. You know, that concept of each one teach one. I believe that one person can get on the path and learn it. That one person can ignite many and can be the cheerleader for many, because we've got to cheer each other on, not stand in the way of each other's opportunity, but cheer each other on. So here is, we've been on 53 minutes here. Let's see what we can do. I got to get some more water. We had out here, those of you that are in the Albuquerque area, we had a big bam boom of electrical storm and sheets of rain that came down. That was fabulous last night. I should be drinking from a glass, but I'm old school. And we just have a lot more to do. And sometimes people always ask me, and that was the website. Let me give you my brand new Skype number, which is 505 349 4722. That's 505-349-4722. That's my Skype internet number, my brand new number. And then I have another number connected to my computer, like the Skype is, and that's my meditational prayer and decree request line. You can listen to a 2-minute all-purpose decree 24/7. Just call 505-717-4722. That's 505-717-4722, and that will, open you up on a whole new level for you as well. Now, I can always track those numbers and things. You can always email me at iam.circleofgrace1@yahoo.com or iam.circleofgrace1@gmail.com. Talking to the two of you or the three of you that I see there. And this can help you move to new levels of understanding with yourself. Now, what I think in this part of the segment of the program, I want to give you a meditation. People always want to know, what are some of the books that I've read? I read Ascension by Revels-Bey that was channeled by Elizabeth. She was known back then as Elizabeth Clare Prophet, and her husband. And I've had some books which I'm about to reacquire. I've got so many. I left a whole lot of books on Long Island to back in storage to some other people. I had over 2,000 books now. I've got it on my disposal, a good batch of my 100 of those books back. But there was a guy by the name of Og Mandino, Mandino, and he used to put out a magazine called Success Unlimited. Success Unlimited back in the 1980s and 1990s. And in fact, the very early 1970s, he was a successful businessman, but he also learned from the simplest of writings. And he wrote a series of books, almost about 14 books. But one of the books, the very first book he wrote, was in 1968. And I got a hold of the book while I was in college, some 6 or 7 years later, after I graduated from college. And it was called The Greatest Salesman in the World. And it was a very thin paperback book, maybe 120, 200 pages. You could read that thing overnight. It read like a movie. Then he had The Greatest Secret in the World. And he wrote that in 1972. In 1980, he had a book called University of Success. In 1990, he had a book called A Better Way to Live. There's some books by some great Unity ministers like Florence Scovel Shinn. Florence Scovel was Scovel Shinn, Shinn. Florence Scovel Shinn. And also another one was Catherine Ponder. Catherine with a C, Ponder, Ponder. And they were part of the Unity Church, which is a metaphysical church, having its headquarters right out there in Missouri. And of course, the Science of Mind Church, which later changed its name to the Centers for Spiritual Living, which was started by Ernest Holmes, but so many people got into it, they really expanded it out, and it caught, like I'll say, like wildfire, and a lot of people were blessed by those teachings and still are. You can get a magazine in the mail called Science of Mind, and you'll get works on the Dalai Lama, Pema, what's her name? I can't think of her name right now, but there was a woman who's a Buddhist monk, and I want to say Chodra, Pema Chodra, but she lived right here in northern New Mexico. And she had a very rough life. She, some setbacks, and then she was living right here in northern New Mexico area, and then her life took off in studying Buddhism. And then, of course, everybody knows about the CWG series, which is Conversations with God. I had a chance to sit in with my spiritual family back in New Jersey before we came here, and they had a chance to see him here in 2011, and that's Neil Donald Walsh. And yes, Pema Chodron, yes, that's her name. Well, she lived in the Taos, New Mexico area. If you can find, she was on Super Soul Sunday with and being interviewed by, yes, she lived in Taos, New Mexico, and being interviewed by last year by Oprah Winfrey on her show. And she talks about, the changes that she went through, and then decided to get on the, Buddhism path. And I've been exposed to a lot. I've been to Zen monasteries, and I was invited once through one of my friends who's an artist on Long Island, and she's a yoga instructor. Her name is Kathleen Regan, and she also went to India back and forth. But I remember back in 1994, 95, she had to go to one of the Zen halls, and it was in upstate New York. And they had someone who was supposed to teach a different kind of meditation. The only thing when we went, and we were told ahead of time, was she asked me, she didn't have the money to pay me to do one of my creative pathwork meditations, but I could tell you I had a blast of a time. I said, well, can someone pay for my room? So I had stayed with a guy, a German guy who was their yoga teacher. I forget his name. And he was a real funny guy, and we slept on a bunk bed. So I was a little heavier than he was, 237, and he was weighing in at about 165 pounds. So he slept on the top bunk, and I slept on the bottom. But we were at this Zen monastery for the entire weekend. We got there on a Friday at about 5 p.m. We checked in, and the Buddhist monk came out and said, well, the Zen master is not here, but he has the ability to checking it out. Somebody said, what does that mean? I said, he has the ability to astral travel. That's going to be cool because I might see him, get a glimpse of him, or feel his presence. I know I'll be able to feel it. And the unique thing about this journey was that uh, he was there. But that weekend, the weekend that we came, we didn't realize it. The weekend that not all of us knew it, but Kathy Regan and the yoga teacher and some of the other people knew it, that they had a series of yogic classes that they were teaching from Friday night after dinner all day Saturday, meaning after breakfast Saturday, lunch Saturday, dinner Saturday night, going into Sunday morning, breakfast, more classes, and then another meal, which was lunchtime. That was our last one, and then we checked out after that. But the whole weekend was done in silence. No talking. Well, not that we couldn't talk, but the monks were in training for absolute silence. So that particular weekend, the monks weren't talking. And from 7 p.m. on, they were in a state of silence. Saturday morning, they were in a state of silence. All day Saturday, they only began to talk at breakfast on Sunday. And it was very unique. And we had a chance to experience a real Buddhist style meditation. And the master that was there, they had these looked like two rulers, 12-inch, 18-inch rulers, and they call it the clapper. All right, and it was stuck together for about 6 to 8 inches, where you had the handle, and at the end, the other pieces opened up, and you could shake it. You could hear a clapping sound, and it had a pad at the bottom. And the purpose for that was when we all was seated in meditation and gazing out the window of the Zen hall, you have a tendency to fall off to sleep. And so one of the Buddhist monks, when they see your head go down, that means you were asleep. And there's two pressure points, one on each shoulder muscle, that they hit you. Now, when we saw this demonstrated, we were flipping out. They're going to hit us. And the guy says, no, you don't feel it. It just hits the pressure point. It sends a charge of energy into your pressure point that wakes you up, along with the clapping that you hear of the sticks. And they also prove that it just clapped it in the air. You may not wake up, but when you hear that light touch, that ability to touch you very lightly right into the shoulder muscle, press down just enough to get you to open your eyes, and then you hear the clapping, that's a reminder that you went to sleep. So we had that beautiful experience, and it was really great because we were allowed to talk, of course, but whenever we walked through the hallways, we had to be quiet. Taking our showers, we had to be quiet because we wanted to be respectful to the monks. Now all of us as students gathering to eat, that was fine because they had their own cooks for us, making breakfasts and lunches for us. So we talked amongst ourselves, but when we stepped out of the mess hall, so to speak, and walked around, you had to be quiet because they were in silence and their teachers were teaching. And the students, all of them at their different ranks, they had to remain quiet. So it was a beautiful experience. And I suggest to anybody, when you're on a spiritual path, do what you can to expose yourself to different practices. This way you get a real good understanding. So I've been in different types of yoga classes. I've been in the bhakti yoga classes. I've been hatha yoga classes. I've been to kriya yoga classes. Kriya is like the elevated to God technique, through the meditation. I've sat in on a little bit of kundalini yoga with people that really knew what they were doing. I've been in classes where people didn't know what they were doing, and I didn't stay in those classes long because I knew that if my kundalini shot up too fast, the people that were teaching it couldn't help me. So, I've been in those. I've been having what they call the Shakti Pa and all of that, having your kundalini ignited at the sacral chakra, the base of your chakra is sacral, and let it come all the way up, wrapped around your spine to get where you are, to have you become an awakened soul on this path in your life. So I've gone through those things. I've been to taekwondo classes, Shotokan karate classes, taekwondo karate classes, some kung fu classes, and then falling in love with Tai Chi Chuan in college, and still practice Tai Chi Chuan on my own and my own system of Tai Chi Chuan. So you have to expose yourself to different things so you can see where you are on the path. And many of the things that you study will open you up. That's the beauty. Anything that you study is supposed to open you up to the state of remembrance. Because basically, you know these things, you just don't know how much you really know. Basically, you know spiritual truths, but you just don't remember them. And just like you may not remember your dream, you do not necessarily remember who you really are until you start going into these studies. See, there are, and I'm going to give you a meditation in a second, there are 4 ways in which you are on a spiritual path. Many people are blessed to have teachers, one-on-one or in a group format. That's a blessing, because if you get in a group format, everybody can study together. But if you are in a one-to-one setting with a teacher, then you get that energy that no one really can experience when it's one-on-one. It's just such a special treatment, because then you and the professor, you and the master teacher, the teacher can point out some things, the teacher can push you in a direction that you need to go into, can stop you from going off in the wrong direction or falling apart on your path, and then keep you from giving up but carry you through. Then there's books. Back in my time, I'm in my mid 60s, so we just had audio cassette tapes, VHS tapes, 8mm films, and of course books, hardcover books, and the teacher. So then there's that third part where you are solo, just you. Now, you might have the wherewithal and the courage to meet and seek out teachers. You don't study with them, but you just engage in conversation with them. Maybe meet some of their top students and you engage in conversation with them, but you're not studying underneath them. You're on a path by yourself, solo studying. And during that solo path, maybe you have an opportunity to study nature. Like many of the ancient kung fu masters and karate masters, they would go into the mountains and they would see how the snake movement was, how the snake fought the eagle, the condor, to see the bear, how the bear did what it did. Beauty on the path. But that might take you a longer time because it's just you. Might take you a longer time because you're studying with books. So you're in that second path and that third path. Then there's the fourth path. The fourth path is involves a teacher, but the teacher is invisible. Let's say that again. The fourth path involves a teacher or teachers, but they are invisible to you. You can't see them with your physical eye, but you know they are present. And that's when you are willing from that third path to not only study books, read books, look at video clips, whatever you got to do, interview people, but then to go into the solo spiritual path with it. See, the third path is you physically doing it by yourself. But the fourth path is you going within, deeply in the meditation and channeling and astral travel, which is out of body experiences when you're ready to get that information. Hearing the call of spirit channeling down into you, and you are able to see it. And this is where your dreams become more metaphysical and your dreams come more magical. Because you go to sleep at night and now you're experiencing the dream. You're not just seeing the dream, but you're envisioning it being in that dream and having the communication going on with the ancestors of something that you're studying, or your ancestors leading you to it, or the angelic presence coming to you, or if you want the galactic space brothers coming and sisters coming into you, and celestial gods coming to you, and it's just you and you only. And then you can't share that information with anybody else. Because maybe people may not understand it. Or maybe you don't understand it enough where you can't really be simplistic in your explanation. Or maybe they're not ready to listen to you. Or better yet, you're not supposed to talk about it right now. You just internalize the whole journey. Those are the four ways. Those four ways have been around for eons. So those are the four ways of developing spiritually and metaphysically for yourself. Teacher in you, or books, videos, DVDs, ebooks, e-zines, you name it, Kindles, all that stuff, and you. Or you got the teacher and those things. Then the third path, you're by yourself, but you're out there interviewing everybody else. And you're on your own path, perhaps as a teacher. And then the fourth level is just you and the divine world. That's where it really comes from. You understand that's where it comes from. You know that you can read your own Akashic records, read the Akashic records of something else, be visibly wide awake, and can see spirit talk to you, and you telepathically talk with it, and everything else that's out there. All four of them paths lead you to wisdom and understanding and inner development, practicality, all of them. But sometimes there's money involved and sometimes there isn't. So let's get you on a journey. It's 6:29 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I want to take you on just a short journey so that all that I've spoken of today can begin to blossom in your own life. And my spirit guide teacher Akhenaten says, let's take you to this last part. You've got your books, you've got your colleagues, friends, and students who you could relay this teaching to. You know, I'm talking about the teachings for yourself to develop yourself spiritually. You've got the ability to go within and pull that information. So let's say in this meditation, wherever you are, maybe you're seated in front of your computer, maybe you're on your Wi-Fi, however, that you're going to take this journey with me. And this journey is going to open up the door Now, I have a first degree level in my school called the open door. In order for you to go through that open door, you got to get in touch with illusions and fears and misbeliefs and misteachings and miscreations and things that you created that didn't fit into the puzzle piece. And you know how you got to break through that and get back to yourself. So let's say that you're already at the state of self. You already have the consciousness of self. You already have tried everything possible to catapult yourself forward, to step into the new world of self. I want to give you a color, maybe two colors, maybe three colors. I want to give you, or tell you right now, to put yourself into a golden white light field of energy. This golden white light not only flows from the crown, through the crown, into the soles of your feet and into the floor, and back up into you, grounding you at your solar plexus, and spirit being grounded at your sacral, which is the second chakra area, so the belly button's right there in the middle. And I want you to feel this energy field where you feel connected, and you're centered. So you can take your palms and kind of feel the energy move up and down. You can go palm up and palm down, go back and forth. You just know that there's energy there. You can feel the tingling sensation around you. That's your own energy, your own chi, as we call it. I just want you to breathe into this field of light, and I want you to feel the oneness, what oneness feels for you. Oneness means you don't have to think outside yourself. You're here. You're present. You're just tuning into yourself. You're not concerned with anything outside of you. You're just totally inside of you. And you feel the greater sense, the greater awareness of what it feels like, not what you see, but what it feels like internally, to be in a state of peace, harmony, and happiness. And as you're in this field of peace, harmony, and happiness, you know that everything that is around you is at one with you. And you're at one with it. Everything. Right down to an insect. Right down to the little dog in your house. A little cat. A bird in a cage. Family members, wherever they might be. Playing outside or in the play area in the house. But you're just in this state, not a void, but a place where there's great comfort. Breathe. Knowing that every breath that you take is a breath of wellness and greater wellness, greater freedom, greater excitement, greater and deeper connection to the divine source of all sources. And that the divine source can resource you. It means it can build you back up. So you're not without energy, not without light or chi or spirit. Just total awareness of oneness. And when you have this sense of oneness with you, you realize that it never left you. This oneness, which we're going to call the beauty of grace, divine or divine grace, where your life begins to smooth itself out. No matter what you think or is a lack of, your life is smooth. You might see the ups and downs, but the ride is a smooth ride. And even when you're down, something is there to assist you. When you're up and not sure, something or someone is there to assist you. So there's assistance whether you're up or you're down, but along the way, you're getting connected. By the rhythm of life itself, you're being connected. Just take it in. Inhale through the nose and let it out through the mouth. Just know that there's this certain awareness that you have about yourself, and that this beauty with you increases you, and this grace inside of you increases you, and the grace has its divine presence in you. It's a gift to you. So you go within now. In every breath, you go deeper into the heart chamber where grace resides and compassion is, knowing and understanding is, oneness is. There's nothing for you to feel afraid or feel disillusioned or being left behind, being abandoned. But you're not feeling any of those things. What you're feeling is the oneness of gratitude and grace and humility and unconditional love. Allowing you to know, allowing you to see, which is to understand on a much bigger level, right down to the minute level. Inhale gratitude. Taste it like wine, gratitude. Swallow this gratitude. You're not swallowing your pride, you're just swallowing the state of gratitude. Feeling grateful for everything. Allowing yourself to feel and taste the presence of beauty, inner beauty. And understanding that inner beauty is healing to you, creating wholeness. And the spirit is anchoring itself into your second chakra and down into your root chakra. That bridge is connecting them. And the earth energy is collected like a pyramid coming into the solar plexus. And then above that is the heart chakra. And you're just in total peace, harmony, and happiness and oneness with that. That you can see beyond your physical eyes. You can see. You understand who you truly are. And you remember who you truly are. You have this greater awareness that you are fine. Can you realize that? You are fine. Nothing wrong with you. You are grateful to be who you are and where you are in this moment. You're overflowing with grace, as divine grace has intervened in your life and has always been present, so you know where you are. You've got this wonderful sense of greatness inside yourself. You know where you are. You have self-love. Therefore, your self-esteem is through the roof. But you're not egotistical about it. You're just excited that you have arrived in this and that there is beauty all over you. And like Dr. Michael Beckwith says, when you hear and feel the call of spirit, you just know to say yes. Because that's your higher self. And I'm not talking about that side of just here going all the way up in the ethers that understands you, and all of those divine entity forms that understand you. They help you remember. They encircle you in the celestial gods and the divine mother's presence and divine father's presence. I mean the way up, all the way down, that comprehends themselves, and they're never taking advantage of you. The divine mother never takes advantage. Divine father never take. They just raise you to a higher level of consciousness, and you just know that you're all right. In the beauty of it all, you are all right. Even in rocky waters, you are all right. Even in split consciousness or splitting of the earth, you're all right. Even where there's confusion, you're still all right. Even if people don't understand you, you're still all right. Even if people don't talk to you, you still are all right. Even if people try to give you a hard way to go and try to get you to lie upon yourself or lie upon someone else or tell lies with them, you are still all right. Because you are you. And you're living your truth. You're not living someone else's truth, because your life entails about finding your truth and transcending upon and beyond that average. So you're not this ordinary person, you're this extraordinary person. You have an extraordinary life, and your life is specially attuned to you and aligns you to the greater resources of energy that come from the infinite source, divine source, and you're at one with it. You're at peace with it. So I'm going to stop right here. I wanted to do about a 90-minute show, and we just about covered it. I want you to know that I'm here for you, that you can reach out to me just by those of you who live across the country and may have Skype, or if you don't, take a landline number and call me. Take a mobile number and call me. Uh, Call me with a Google line if you want. But call my Skype number, 505-349-4722. 505-349-4722. And that 4722 is shared with my meditational decree request line that has a 2-minute prayer that you can listen to. Is all purpose. You just dial 505-717-4722. Dial 505-717-4722. And I can pick it up with my trusty other phone, like right here. There's one down here I could get to, and that I'm broadcasting from. I can hear you and communicate with you. I want to take a moment and say thank you very much for being supportive in my work of the Circle of Grace 1. Those of you who just met me last year, maybe only known me for 5 years since I've been here, and those that have known that I've been doing this for 40 plus years, 42 years. The Circle of Grace 1. This has been quite a journey, as we're coming up into the 16th, 17th year anniversary of the Circle of Grace 1. The Circle of Grace 1, I founded on July 2nd, 1999 AD, under the aegis, meaning the wings and the anointing of the presence of the Angel of Grace in my life. To be able to share these teachings and ministries, and lots of them at times are given away for free. Just want you to have. Some I sell to you, but I want you to have it. I want to be able to serve you in a way that allows you to grow. So I'm here for you. I always let people know I'm like a night hawk. I'm up late. That's when I do my best work, late at night. And I'm involved in so many different Facebook groups and things, and some of them I'm going to have to cut back a little bit so I could be more present for the Holy Spirit. Because I'm here to bring forth some information in detailed form. So that's the purpose of broadcasting. I have 2 more channels here on Ustream, and they're connected to the Circle of Divine Grace and Remembrance, which was born on February 7th, 2009, and that's the 5-leveled tiered institute, metaphysical and spiritual institute for the Circle of Grace 1. So one is called the Circle of Divine Grace and Remembrance, and that's more of the philosophical side and some of the teachings that are going out. And then the other one is called the Circle of Divine Grace and Remembrance _5L, which means the actual teaching itself. So I've been promising to do some teleseminars. I'm working on a lot of projects. I'm going to get it together, and I think by September we're going to kick it off. And you're going to be able to come online through a teleconference and get the information and also be taught right here at the same time. I might cancel those accounts, but Holy Spirit says to leave them in place. So they're interlocked with this one. So once I broadcast over there, you may see the videos run there too, but you got to have a special password to get into it so you can play it. Okay, replay them back. But I'm always looking for other platforms. So I'm on Blog Talk Radio. Maybe I can extend that one into a longer version, longer show, so I can do some evening time internet radio shows for about an hour. We'll see how it goes. Akhenaten says one day at a time, one moment at a time. Yes, I am putting together some PDF form ebooks in numerology, in energetic palmistry, in the art of pendulums. I'm putting them together right now, so you'll be able to get it. And I'm going to include some CD audios with it, so that you have at least one or two CD audios, as well as a DVD to go in the batch for you as well, so that you can have a one CD and one DVD, and then have the source material. And again, we're going to keep it simple so that you can get it, and so that you can explore it, and so that you can grow. And this is essential. Some people have asked me about my White Eagle's Wings, ISA, Inner Spiritual Attunement, Tai Chi programs. And I'm going to get into videotaping the 16 movement short form so people can see how it goes, see how it looks. It's not done for physical warriorship. It's for spiritual warriorship, meaning getting yourself together, going within you, and clearing your ego so that you can be more attuned to the divine source. So I'm getting ready to close this program out. We've been up for quite a while. Now that I know that I could broadcast through my phone and you can see me also on my channel, Circle of Grace channel, at the same time, thank you for being supportive in my work here and helping me out, and those of you who are coming forward to help me get this other material down pat and get it out there for people, because it's time. It's always time, but this is more essential. 2017 is a very important time frame. Now, I haven't researched it like that to let you know the astrological influences, but I do know that 2017 is a one universal year. So everybody globally has a chance to move to a new level for themselves. And our ancestors say, let's not worry too much about the political scene, but keep an eye on it and send light toward it. Let's send as much light as we can, unconditional love, grace to restore, balance, so that people are not struggling and not fighting over and over and over and over and over with themselves, but creating a sense of oneness on the planet, healing love and unconditional love. Well, I want to thank you for joining me here this evening on June the 2nd, 2016. We'll be back here next Thursday on June the 9th, 2016 with another interesting program. And we're going to cover a lot of turf and might give out some information for you to see and understand all about yourself. So I want to make sure that you get these teachings and that glory can be there for you. Excuse me for putting my elbow in your face. Didn't mean to do that. But I want you to be on the receiving end as much information that I have to give. Because 2017, I think we're going to be very busy. Some people want me to travel up to Chicago and down to Dallas and teach, and out to California to teach. Maybe back to New York area, Long Island to teach. I certainly can't stay forever at any of these places, but I have to go teach and build. And so people can come here and meet all of you that are here in the Southwest. My grace is your grace. Thank you for being supportive for everything that I'm doing. Until next time, remember, next Wednesday, 4 p.m. Mountain, 6 p.m. Eastern on Blog Talk Radio, the Age of Remembrance channel. And then coming over here, being here and having a blast with me here at the same time. My battery's running low, gotta go. Remember that divine grace is a blessing as we're alive and well in the age of remembrance. See you soon. Thank you so much. Bye now.